So Micromax finally launched a new company that everyone was waiting for. It is supposedly the most anticipated phone of the year, and they sold out 10,000 units in just a matter of minutes in their traditional flash sale system that we've been seeing all throughout last year. Is the Yureka really worth all that effort? And is Micromax hitting the nail right where it's supposed to be hit? My name is Bharat Nagpal, and today we're going to be reviewing the new Yureka. So if you've been anywhere around Micromax in the past couple of years, you know that their reputation is really at stake at this point of time. They've been struggling really bad with their sort of customer support and their customer feedback, and they've also been going into a lot of trouble with their devices recently. We have no sort of software updates from the manufacturer, as well as the fact that their build quality seem to be an issue majorly. Now, apart from the fact that the company was facing major problems with their own customers, new companies have started to come into their domain and take control of what Micromax had a strong foothold in. So companies like Xiaomi, OnePlus, and even Gionee have sort of stepped into Micromax's domain and have started to eat their share of the pie. And the only way for Micromax to retaliate without hurting its own dealer network was to launch a new brand and to totally market it as a new youthful company. So Televentures was born. Now the Yureka or the Yureka is the first phone from the company, and it offers a good set of specifications. In fact, it's possibly the best set of specifications you can get at the time for the price bracket that this device is set in. So does it really make it worth it? So let's find out. Let's start with build quality and design. The fact that Micromax continues to buy their devices from vendors in China means that Micromax or Televentures, and from now on I'm going to refer to it as You has no real control over what they buy. So they pick out products from an existing lineup of devices and they say, hey, slap my logo onto this one, and this one, and send over a couple of thousand units and we'll sell it in our country. So well, the system remains the same with the Yureka. They've bought a device that is traditionally sold in China with another name, and they've basically slapped on their logos onto this device. So in terms of build quality, without having a lot of control over it, the device seems to be a well-built device. We did a couple of drop tests as well as a couple of traditional usage tests, and the device fared pretty well. In fact, the front has a Gorilla Glass 3, so we saw no or little scratches using our pocket tests, where we put in a bunch of keys into our pocket. And with a couple of drops that we did, the device did not sort of rattle down. We also tried bending it, and that was also a big fail. So overall, the device was quite sturdy, and we have no real complaints. Apart from the fact that the device is completely built out of plastic, which may not be such a bad thing for a 10,000 rupee device. Now hardware wise, we are quite set. Under the 10,000 rupee price bracket, the device offers excellent sort of hardware, but it also offers the kind of things that you don't really expect in this price bracket. To start off, you have a 5.5-inch display. No, it's not a full HD display, but it's a 720p display, which is fantastic. You also get the new Qualcomm Snapdragon 615 octa-core chipset, which does support a 64-bit architecture, which means that the fact that this device is future-proof in terms of the way the software is going to be rolled out makes it an instant purchasable device. It gives it those many points immediately before we even get through with our review. So that makes it a big deal in our books straight ahead. What it also has is 2 GB of RAM and 16 GB of storage. You can also slap in a micro SD card, and that works well up to 32 GB. For GPU, you have the Adreno 405 GPU, which fared well in our gaming tests, and we have no complaints, and you can check out our gaming video to get the full rift of that. On the back is a 13 megapixel camera, which does fairly well, and we were pretty happy with the camera samples that we got. And when we were testing it outdoors especially, we were pretty happy. We'll talk about that in the camera section. The front has a 5 megapixel camera as well, both of which, the rear camera and the front camera, can shoot 1080p video, all of which we'll talk about in the camera section. Let's talk a little bit more about what else is on this device. So you get two SIM card slots, and you also get 4G capability, and all those networks are supported mostly globally, but the fact that they work really well in India, FDD LTE is supported, which means that you'll be sorted through and through. Now, battery is also at a good spot. We get 2500 milliamps. All of this is packed nicely into a device which costs only 8,999. Now, before we get on to anything apart from hardware and performance, we'll talk a little bit more about Cyanogen. Now, Cyanogen was seen in the limelight when it was first made available on the OnePlus One, and we've reviewed the OnePlus One. We found the device to be really fantastic, and 40% of that fantastic awesomeness comes from the fact that the OnePlus One runs Cyanogen. So before launching OnePlus One in India, the company faced a big problem because Micromax had sued the company and put a ban on their devices because they got into an exclusive deal with Cyanogen. And Cyanogen got into this exclusive deal with Micromax without even speaking to OnePlus. So there's a whole lot of politics going on behind the fact that this device runs Cyanogen, but we don't really care about that. All we care about is the fact that this device does run Cyanogen and it works really well. Cyanogen is a custom build of Android that has been built on top of Android KitKat for this particular device, and it works really well. It is a big sort of developer community where people continue to build things, firmwares, kernels, etc., and make the device more and more usable, more and more performance oriented, as well as more and more friendly. You can have kernels that give you better battery life. You can have kernels that give you better performance. So all of this sort of ties in with people working on making your device better. And in fact, you can work on making your device better. So it all ties in with a big ecosystem, a big community, which sort of works for you / Micromax in this case, especially because we've not seen a community sort of system in our country before. And with the advent of Xiaomi and their Mi forums and OnePlus One and their forums, where a lot of Indian people are active, you sort of wants to bank in on that by making the You Play God forums, and sort of tries to make the consumer more happy about the fact that they are in control of their device. Whether or not the system will work only for India is something that we need to see, because global communities seem to work much better according to us. But will it work specifically for India? Only time will really tell. Now, we've seen a couple of high-performance devices from Micromax in the past, mostly running octa-core chipsets that were really sort of popular in the masses, and people really like those devices, especially because of the price to performance ratio that we got from there. So one device that particularly comes to mind is the Micromax Canvas Night, which was easily the best device to buy if you were looking for a portable heater or an egg frying pan, because that device got so toasty that it was really difficult to hold on to the device anymore. We reviewed that device as well, and we did not rate it well simply because the device got so hot. In terms of the Micromax or the Yureka, I'm going to continue saying Micromax because that's what's stuck in my head. But the Yureka is a good performance device. We saw great scores on Antutu as well as on a couple of other benchmarks that we ran, and we are quite happy with the overall performance that we got from the device. Multitasking is smooth. Overall day-to-day usage of this device is smooth, and I'll not see you complaining about the fact that the Yureka is slow or lags a lot, especially the fact that we used it over a period of 15 to 20 days, and we found that despite intensive usage, the device does not seem to slow down, which is a great sort of feature or a great sort of feedback that I can give to you about the Yureka. The fact that the device is also plastic means that you can easily hold it, means that you don't need to sort of worry about the heat dissipating into your hands because of the glass or because of the metal body of the device. So in a way, I guess plastic does work for devices that tend to overheat, and Micromax seems to have managed it well, especially for this device, or whoever manufactured it seems to have managed it well for this device. So the device does run LTE as well as a 3G and 2G networks. We found the network to be quite stable, especially if you're in a place or around a fixed area where you're connected to the same tower. If you're on and about, if you're moving, if you're in moving, like if you're in a car moving from one place to another, you might face some call drops, and we did face that, and it was quite frequent, especially on the go. So it seems that the tower switching either on the network side or on the phone side is not very compatible with this device. So that means that you might face a lot of issues if you travel a lot and are on the phone constantly, and you shouldn't be if you're driving. But otherwise, if you are, then this might not be the best bet. But if you're in a place, network performance seems to be good, reception seems to be great, and no complaints with the towers in terms of Wi-Fi networks are also pretty strong. Phone networks are good, and the fact that we were able to test out LTE, which works really well on this device. We got a talk time of about 6 to 7 hours on mixed sort of networks. We got about 7 to 8 hours in a fixed place, which is pretty good talk time for the device, especially the fact that it runs 2 SIM cards and has LTE capabilities. So the fact that we got 6 to 7 hours of talk time on the go is pretty good, and we are pretty happy with that talk time. You can find more detailed sort of results for our battery on our full review on iGyaan.in. Well, the camera is in terms of megapixels, a great camera. You get 13 megapixels, and if you're outdoors, you'll be pretty happy with the result that you will get from the camera. 13 megapixel shots are really nicely focused, great saturation, great color, great contrast. Everything seems to be just awesomely brilliant. The minute you step inside, or the minute you're in a low light situation, you'll be cursing the camera. It's not good. You get really grainy images. Focus is a bit of a trouble. The front-facing camera, even though it says 5 megapixels, is not all that jazz. The way the images are processed, you get really smushed up images. The way the software saves the images for the rear camera as well as the front camera, the end resultant is not nice whatsoever. So the camera is not the best set. It does have a 13 megapixel sensor, which is great. Maybe somebody can get the camera to save images in a better format. Maybe a third-party application, but for the time being, out of the box, the camera sort of sucks, and we have no problem saying it. It is a terrible camera for 13 megapixels, and we've seen better. At 8 megapixels, we've seen better camera shots. So not all that happy with what we've got from the Yureka. You do have a full HD video capture, and you do get slow-mo video sort of at 60 frames per second. The camera app is exactly the same camera app that you'll see on the OnePlus One, so no differences there. The only feature that doesn't exist on the Yureka is the fact that it does not support the 4K video recording feature. Everything else seems to be exactly the same, at least on the OnePlus One that we got, not the Indian variant. Now, one of the great features about this device is the display, and we are pretty happy with that. It's great outdoors as well as indoors. Viewing angles are fantastic, and that's thanks to it being an IPS display. Color and sort of playback saturation is brilliant. We're pretty happy with all of the things that the display is related to. Multi-touch is fantastic. The screen is slightly glossy, and you might need to get a screen protector. The touch response is really good on the device, so an anti-glare screen protector will work wonders for you. One thing that we are not really happy about is the inbuilt speaker. It's not loud. In fact, it seems a little muffled, and it could have had more volume. You can use third-party speakers if you really need music or audio on the go. Headphones that are in the box are okayish. They constantly fall out of the ear and are not the best snug fit. They do have good audio, but again, we've seen better bass from many other headphones, and then it'll be recommended if you're listening to music or videos or watching movies, etc. Get a better set of headphones. Now, Cyanogen is fantastic. You get your ability to customize themes, figure out how you want the boot logo to look, whether you want a specific set of icons or a different set of colors. Everything can be customized according to the user. You can also download separate sounds for the device. So in terms of the customizability, it doesn't get any better than this. It will be getting Lollipop on Cyanogen soon. As soon as the Cyanogen team has built a build specific for this device on Lollipop, it will be available, and the device and the hardware supports it. So there is no reason that Televentures will not ship out an update to Lollipop. And if they don't, they really will lose out on the customers that are hoping that Televentures is different from Micromax. a company which almost never gave software updates. You do also have U forums, which will help you sort of speak to others who own this device in a systematic format. There will be also people from U Televentures trying to answer your queries and problems. Micromax has also offered at-home service for this device, which honestly I don't think is going to work, and honestly just seems like a bag of promises which will never be opened. The device is a noble quest. It is a way of Micromax to deal with their problems in the traditional Micromax format by just running away from them, starting something new, and giving you a device which will sort of woo you initially, and then you will sort of not know what the future of the device is, which is the same situation with the Yureka. It's a new company. A lot of promises have been made. The hardware is fantastic, and at a loss to Micromax, they're selling the device in the market for a price of 9,000 rupees. In terms of pure hardware, if you're looking for pure hardware, this device doesn't get beaten by any other device in the market. For 9,000 rupees, you should just go and buy it if you have the ability or the patience to stand in line and get this device. In terms of what you're looking for, if you're looking for future promises, software updates, all of those things will come to be known only over time. But in terms of hardware, for the price that it's available at, for the build that it is, for the performance that we got from it, from the gaming capability that we saw, and from the display, the sheer display, we are pretty happy with the device, and we say that you can give it a good rating of about 8 out of 10, which is what we gave the device. However, everything about this device will really come to be known in the time that it goes forward. If you're looking for a great camera phone, if you're looking for software support from the manufacturer, we still might ask you to wait on a little bit longer, because we don't know what the end resultant of this whole U Televentures is going to be. If this company is going to stick around, if you're going to see more devices, if the next device is going to be atrociously priced, it doesn't really make sense, does it? So let's wait and watch. Is Micromax just trying to play with companies like Xiaomi and OnePlus and sort of get them out of the market by doing this? Is this their strategy to sort of trouble the other manufacturers, or is this their actual, true, genuine process in trying to bring a better product and better service to the customer? Is what we have to see. And until we find that out, U Televentures and the Yureka, for its hardware is good, but for its future is unknown. If you have any questions or queries, you can go to the full review, which will mostly answer anything and everything that you need to know about this device. And if you still don't find your question being answered on our full review, you can leave a question in the comments on our review, and we'll try and answer that for you there. Make sure you visit iGyaan.in for all your daily tech. My name is Bharat Nagpal. I'll see you in the next one.